a dramatic day in the League One automatic promotion race. Ipswich Town 2-0 winners here at Bolton. Plymouth beaten at Barnsley. It's a big swing, and things are feeling really good for Ipswich Town after a really good day.
Big day, yeah. Ipswich were 10 points off the top two just a few weeks ago. The gap is now down to 2, and this feels like it could be a significant day in this season for Ipswich Town. Only the second time they've beaten a team currently in the top 6. Derby, of course, was at Portman Road on a Friday night, and now they've done it on the road. Came very close at Sheffield Wednesday earlier in the season, deserved more at Plymouth, but hadn't been able to get these sort of games over the line. They have today, Andy.
They have 5 straight wins, that's momentum. 6 straight clean sheets, that's almost impenetrable.
That's a club record.
It is a club record, and full value for it, really. Wasn't always the prettiest of games. It needed all sides of Ipswich Town again, and we've begun to see those. It needed some big defending, it needed some clinical finishing, it needed a penalty save from Christian Walton, but they've delivered in a big moment, and it's set up a 10-game shootout now from here for Ipswich and Plymouth, and I think Barnsley would count themselves in this race as well. They've got 2 games in hand on Town. It's going to be a fascinating end to the season, but Town have put themselves in such a good position to go and do something special, and if they do, today's the day that we might look back on and think that's the true launch pad for something.
Should we go through the game a little bit? As you say, the start to this game was quite scrappy, frenetic, frantic, combination of the weather conditions that you can probably see over our shoulder, sort of cold, swirling rain, and what was at stake in this game. Bolton trying to get themselves back on track after hitting a bit of a sticky patch of late. Ipswich battling to close that gap to the top 2, and it meant for a bit of a scrappy sort of opening 20 minutes or so, where neither team could really get a foothold in the match.
No, Town needed Christian Walton. They needed him later in the game from a penalty, but they needed him early as well. Connor Bradley down the right, a good save from him at the near post, but Town eventually worked their way into this one, I felt, and before half-time grabbed a lead, and it was such a good goal. Wes Burns intercepting a ball in line with his own penalty area, ate up 60 yards of space in front of him, and even after that managed to set himself and put the measured ball in for Hurst to finish, and that was a beautiful finish, wasn't it? It took first time on the run, got across his man and guided it into the bottom corner. A first league goal for him, that feels like it could be big. It was a lovely goal. Lovely goal. Yeah,
shades of his goal at Burnley in the FA Cup, where he's done well to sort of keep pace with the move. The movement is good. Ball's slightly behind him as it comes to him in the box, but he does well to get his foot around it, with Santos on the scene as well, and guide that ball into the bottom corner. That was a lovely finish that gave Ipswich the lead, and I thought it was what they deserved going into half-time, because as that first half had worn on, they turned the home crowd first quiet, then a little bit frustrated. They were working some really good positions, particularly down that right-hand side. The only minor concern for me was that on the flip side, Ipswich had maybe looked a little bit vulnerable down the left. We know Nathan Broadhead tucks in. We know that leaves Leif Davis with a lot of work to do down the left-hand side, and Bolton had tried to create a couple of overloads and managed to isolate Cameron Burgess 1 or 2 times. But in general, they'd limited Bolton really to that Connor Bradley chance that you mentioned early in the game, and full value for 1-0 at half-time.
Yeah, I think credit to Burgess there. There were times where it looked like he was going to get caught and sort of squared up or beaten to balls, but he always did just about enough. You did feel like Town were living a little bit dangerously at times, but I think every time Burgess did just about enough, and the temperature here feels like it's dropped about 3 degrees since we started recording this video. The conditions haven't been great this afternoon, that contributed to a lot of it, but 1-0 at half time. Bolton fans started the game singing about going to Wembley because they've got their Papa John's trophy date, and by half time they weren't singing at all. The Ipswich fans were delighted, and yeah, great to see.
And then comes the penalty moment, where it's the one moment in the game that McKenna says his side need to go away and learn from and improve from. Ipswich wanted a free kick, and McKenna says they didn't let the emotions of that, didn't handle the emotions of that very well. Too busy sort of complaining at the injustice of it. They felt that there was a foul on Wes Burns right in front of the referee, and the linesman wasn't given, switched off a little bit. And Bolton get down the right side of the box. Leif Davis looks like he's done enough on Connor Bradley when he goes to ground, but Bradley sort of gets himself up off the ground and goes over the outstretched leg of Cameron Burgess. I don't think there's any complaints about that as a penalty, is there?
No, I didn't think so. I don't think Burgess did an awful lot wrong either. He was kind of arriving on the scene, and he had to be there, but Bradley went over his leg. That's a penalty. Christian Walton booked in the build-up for standing on the penalty spot. Which could well have been quite an important part of that penalty.
And Connor Chaplin as well also buys a bit of time by repeatedly telling the referee that the ball wasn't properly on the spot as well. So a little bit of mind games from Ipswich to delay it. As we saw earlier with Mo Salah blazing one wide for Liverpool. When there's a long delay to take a penalty, it always puts a little bit of doubt in the taker's mind. And eventually Dion Charles stepped up. Wasn't the best of penalties, and Christian Walton to his left keeps the ball out, and a bit of a mad scramble after that. You kept saying, see it out, come on, make sure you see it out, that phase of play, and they did. They survived. And that was a huge moment in this game.
It's his second one of the season. We saw one at Cambridge. They managed to convert that into a point, but from a 1-0 being 1-0 up at the time, we really needed Town to go on and win this game, and eventually they have. And for all the intricate play that Ipswich Town have produced this season, some beautiful goals of late, free kick goals, some really good team goals, a nice, simple ball into the box, bullying header from Cameron Burgess through about 4 men,
loved
I think.
It. Absolutely loved it.
Football's a simple game. Do that, please. 2-0, and ultimately that was job done for Town. But good to see Town can do all of these things, all these different kind of goals.
Set pieces have been massive for Ipswich this season. It's a remarkable turnaround. A team that were derided in the early stages of McKenna's management for just, you'd have away fans chanting, we're going to score from a corner, sarcastically. They just didn't score from set pieces, and now I think by far and away the leading goal scorers from set pieces this season, and that was an absolute beauty. Davis, slight outswinger from the left, and like you say, that was the definition of bullet header from Cameron Burgess. Desire, just rampaging over the top of everyone in his way, get out the way, bang, bullet header, back of the net, 2-0. And I felt pretty good about them seeing it out from there. Just really good game management from that point onwards, I thought. Bolton slumped, body language was poor, and Ipswich got the job done.
Yep, there were some moments where Marcus Harness had a couple of chances, one in particular where he maybe just could have truly killed it, but there was no danger. Ipswich saw it out, 3 points, and moving on to a tough run of games. But this should give them every confidence that they can win those games. They've done it now. They've come to one of the bigger teams in League One. They've won away, and they're in such a good position to go on and do something from here. It's really put a bit of a supercharge into the automatic promotion race for me. It's going to be thrilling. Big
day. Is this officially the run-in now? 10 games to go?
Sprint for home time.
Big day for Ipswich Town. 10 to go. Shrewsbury at home next. See you then.